I really love the movie The Grinch. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. That's
Which
just
one? There's a couple of
my-
movies out now.
I don't necessarily like the latest animated one.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
Not my favorite.
Benedict Cumberbatch playing the Grinch there. He does an okay job, but it's just not funny. As funny. Jim Carrey's version, hilarious.
It's fun.
And
yeah.
then the original is obviously, to me, the best.
The cartoon.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
So good. So you know the cave that the Grinch lives in.
Which one?
The one in, I guess, the Jim Carrey version.
There's three of them. Okay, so the movie with Jim Carrey. That Cave of the Grinch.
Yes, probably most like that. Is up on Airbnb.
You're kidding. Really?
Yeah, this guy, you can rent the cave out, and it starts, I think you can start renting it this Friday, like booking it. And then you have about a week to 10 days to stay there.
I have this thought that it was a movie set. Evidently, it's a real cave?
It's a real cave, from what I understand, yeah.
Do you happen to know the city?
I do. Utah. It's in
Utah.
I know that's not a city, but...
No, that's a whole state.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
There's this young man that has a job at Whole Foods. His name is TJ. He did a cool thing. It's Rob and Liz, his morning crew on his radio. A few years back, a young man with Down syndrome came up. His name is Riley.
Mm-hmm.
They struck a small little friendship right in that aisle immediately. And then TJ says to Riley, hey, you want to help me stock these shelves?
And he jumped all over it. He was so excited to jump in and help.
And now here's the thing. Riley, for the past several years, goes in once a week and helps TJ stock the shelves.
Right. Riley's like 19 now, and he still shows up just about every day, helps stock the shelves, like you said, and they have developed this relationship. In fact, Riley's mom said sometimes when there's somebody with a disability, there can be struggles getting to know them. But TJ took the time to say, hey, man, you know, you look like you enjoy coming to the grocery store. Jump in and we can create this friendship. He didn't say that, but that was the thought process.
And look what happens.
Yeah.
You know, now Riley's there every week helping out, which I think is amazing. I'm learning a lot from you, TJ. Thank you for stepping out and showing us how it's supposed to be done.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
The Nextdoor app. I don't know if you heard. I don't even know if you use the Nextdoor app or not, but it's, they connect neighbors and stuff like that. Anyway, they have on the Nextdoor app a cheer map where you can tell them, I have lights up in my front house, or you can search for a great light display through the Nextdoor app. It's called the Cheer app, and Cheer Map. I thought, hey, that's a brilliant idea to go and look for light displays.
I think so, too. Do you get to get reviews? Like, do people put notes about the lights they've seen or anything?
Oh, why? Do you have a light display that you want people to give you a positive?
We have some lights out front, in the Nutcracker.
I'll
and
give
all
you a
that stuff.
positive.
What?
If there's a review, I'll give you a positive review.
Okay.
I'll
'cause
give
I
you
would like
thumbs
to
up,
see that.
5 stars, whatever.
5 stars. That's what we're all looking for.
Even though I haven't seen it, I'll make up something and tell
don't do
people
that.
how great it is.
Oh, I can't stand false reviews because you buy something, then it's like, wait a minute, they said they were awesome. So, no.
Okay.
No. But
then
I like this.
retract exactly what I said.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
If you missed it, it was Joyce's sugar cookie that was featured yesterday, and Liz turned it into an arts and crafts on us. I mean, Caitlin, our intern, our producers, Jake and Ninja, myself, we had to decorate these sugar cookies.
Right, that I had done snowflakes and snowmen and gingerbread men and ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yeah, so we decorated them. And then all of a sudden, Caitlin, our intern, who was helping us with social media, said, let's do a vote.
Oh, yeah.
On whose was the best.
Who won?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know, Liz?
Yeah, I would.
It was so close. Not really. Liz, you won.
Yes!
By a lot.
By a landslide, wasn't it?
And it was just a simple little Christmas tree with some little beads thrown on top.
So what does that say about our cookies?
Not bitter.
Not bitter at all?
It just says it's not bitter at all. Can we still, they're in their Instagram stories, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's still there? Okay.
You could still vote, couldn't you?
Well,
okay.
Why not? Who came in second?
Right now, Ninja's at second.
Ninja, hey.
But see, Ninja was sneaky.
Yeah.
She went and shared it with all of her friends and said, vote for me. It's not really sneaky. It's just... Yeah, we just didn't think about it.
Yeah. Not sneaky. Just
But
smart.
you're still
So
in second.
who's last, Jake or myself?
Sadly, Jake. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, Jake! Oh man!
Oh no.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Christine and Gannon tried to get married during the pandemic. Okay, they were going to have this big wedding, the whole thing in the church, the whole reception and everything. So the pandemic happens. They ended up getting married in the backyard. Then they decided this past September 2021 that they were going to have a big reception and have a party for all their friends. Well, Christine gets COVID. So she had to quarantine. So they had to cancel. They postponed it until just last weekend. The day of the wedding celebration, her husband comes down with food poisoning, like severe food poisoning, so that he goes into the hospital kind of thing to get better. So she had the reception anyway, and she put his face on an iPad type thing, like a selfie stick almost, and wheeled him around the reception area. His face is in like a frame.
Okay.
She puts him on a pool cue that had a jacket on it.
So like it's a suit he's
So like
wearing.
it's him.
Okay.
She danced with it. People took pictures with him.
There you go.
She walks out of the celebration with him. She took the jacket at one point as she was cutting the cake and wrapped the sleeves of the jacket around her as though they were standing there lovingly in each other's arms cutting the cake together.
That's great. Oh, I love her.
Yeah. I mean, he was in the hospital at the time, and she went and did her wedding reception.
Yeah, well, the show
No,
must
he
go
told
on,
her.
but he's going to be okay,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. It was just, he was dehydrated and all that. So, and he told her to go ahead and go for it and do it. And I love the sense of humor that they have. They've already postponed it a couple of times.
Listen, how many wedding receptions does a person remember anyway? This one you're going to remember.
Every single
Right?
day.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
$5, you can cut down your own tree.
Wow.
$5. And you hear there's a Christmas tree shortage, right? But there is a catch. It is at a national forest. You do have to get a permit, and it's not every national forest. For instance, so if you go on their website, you'll see that you can go to Ocala, Florida, or West Virginia. Those are the two closest that you're able to get a permit and cut down your own Christmas tree for $5. Most of these national forests that you can do this at is way out west. I mean, you can see it peppered all over the map from Colorado all the way over to California and Washington and stuff like that. Over on the she's singing now. Over on the East Coast, there's not as many. I mean, the closest would be West Virginia or Ocala, which would be a nice, trip for a weekend to get a Christmas tree for $5.
Actually, you know what? If you've got the time, I think that'd be kind of cool.
Well, listen. Okay.
What?
Here you go. Because there's travel involved, right?
Okay.
So you have to get an Airbnb or a hotel.
Okay. You don't
You
have
have
to,
to-
but okay.
Yeah, you do. You got to stay overnight. You got to go and find your tree,
Road trip.
cut it down, and then you got to crash for the night, right? Because you've been spending all day finding the right tree.
You're not Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation. Like,
Yeah.
you'll be able to find it. Doesn't have to be the biggest one.
No, what it can be.
But at
all right.
$5, that'd be fun.
Then there's all this travel, and then the expenses. You got to buy food along the way and stuff. You might as well just stay home and buy a Christmas tree here.
Pack sandwiches, take a road trip, just drive the whole thing, get your tree, drive back.
Still
It's
a
an
couple of
adventure.
$100
For
It's
gas.
$50 to fill up a tank.
Right,
In
for-
most vehicles.
For gas and,
Yeah.
your Little Debbie run when you stop by the
Little
store.
Debbie run. Well, we know what Liz gets when she travels.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
So curious today. How have you handled change during the Christmas season? Because change happens, right?
Yeah. Almost every year, something changes.
Yeah. How did you handle that? What did you do?
Yeah, my daughter went on a mission trip in 2018, and I have one daughter, two sons, and girls get together and they do different things than a mom and sons would
So
do.
she was gone during Christmas.
She was
then.
gone during Christmas, and so I needed a girl in her stead. And I know that sounds bad, but I mean, we could talk. She was in Bolivia at the time, but I brought in her best friend, one of her best friends, and we did some things together.
Aw,
Yeah,
that's
and so
nice.
and now that's a tradition that Heather comes over on Christmas Eve, and we have some food and sing some songs, and yeah,
That's
so
great.
that's how it changed for us.
That's great. Well, what about you? When change happened, and there's all variety different types of changes, How did you handle it during the Christmas season? 800-447-7234.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
So curious about you. During the Christmas season, how did you handle change in your life when it came along? At 800-447-7234. Debbie, what about you? What happened?
My sister had gotten a divorce several years ago, and she, loved the Christmas holiday, and, I just felt bad that, she was all alone and such. So I started doing the 12 days of Christmas for her. So I would get her little gifts throughout the year, and then I would send them to her, and then she would have one to open for the 12 days of Christmas, which was a lot of fun. That was probably 6 or 7 years ago, and her and I have continued to do that. So that's always, fun to look forward to throughout the year, finding little special treats and for her for 12 days of Christmas.
And I love how that relationship is so important to you. You keep it going and do this special thing between you two during the Christmas season. I love that, Debbie. Thank you.
Kelly texted and said our daughter is a missionary in France with YWAM. And so every year since she's there, they FaceTime and they take turns opening their presents.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and she said she's so thankful that, there is the technology that they can do that. So absolutely. Suzanne also texted and said 12 years ago, Mom unexpectedly passed away on Christmas Eve.
Oh, no.
And one of Mom's favorite things was to go to lunch at Red Lobster on Christmas Eve. And so whenever they can, Suzanne and her brother and sister go to Red Lobster in honor of Mom's memory.
Oh, that's so
Isn't that
great.
sweet?
Yeah. And the biscuits there.
Ooh, cheddar biscuits. Yeah.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
So how did you handle during the Christmas season change that all of a sudden just came your way? At 800-447-7234.
Jeannie texted and she said, my dad died on the 23rd, which 7 years ago. And she said, since then, just really been leaning on my faith.
That's good.
And that's what got her through. And it was more important after her dad passed away.
Very inspiring. Thank you, Jeannie. Sarah's here. Sarah, what about you? What happened?
So his family, they always go to Cracker Barrel on Christmas Eve morning for breakfast, and he's got 4 siblings, so it's a pretty big family, and it just keeps growing, and it's wonderful, and kids and grandkids. And
I bet that's so different from the way you grew up on Christmas Eve, the things you would do.
Oh, yes. I grew up in a very German family, so we definitely did things different, much smaller, and would open a present on Christmas Eve, and he waits till Christmas morning. And so, we've definitely grown and kind of shared some of our traditions together.
That's cool. I'm glad you guys found each other and got married, and now look at how great Christmas is with all this stuff interjecting.
Because without him, you wouldn't have known about the Cracker Barrel.
Right.
And that would have been sad.
Yeah.
I love me some Cracker Barrel.
Mm-hmm. Favorite dish there?
I usually get a kid's meal, and it's just the vegetable
She
plate.
always gets kids' meals.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
He made such a long trip. I'd really like to know what happened during the trip. His morning crew with Rob and Liz, his radio.
Who are you talking
William
about?
Shatner.
Oh, when he went to space?
And when he actually went to space, not on TV.
I don't know if you heard, but Amazon Prime is doing a whole special on it now. It's called Shatner in Space.
Oh, that's so cool.
Seriously,
That's
yeah.
so cool. I want to know about it. Is it like a movie, a mini movie, or?
It's a documentary. I'm saying it wrong.
Oh, documentary.
It's one of those.
Okay.
Of him going up and chronicalizing his whole trip that he went into space.
Does he host it, or does someone else talk about him, or does he talk because he likes to
She's
talk about
asking me all this
I
stuff
know.
that I don't know.
So does-
All I know is that it's Shatner in space and it's about him going up.
Okay, so I hope, because he does this a lot, he talks about himself in the third person.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so you see the whole trip of before, during, and then after, and all the thoughts that he had about that. So it's going to be out a couple of days before Christmas.
He was very emotional when he came back to Earth.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, he was in tears, and that's not something you typically would see from William Shatner.
And I watched a little bit of that and what he was trying to say to Bezos and
right.
verbalizing his whole experience. But it was life-changing for him.
Absolutely, and he's 80 some odd years old, something like that.
Not 150?
He's not 150 yet.
You know, spring chicken.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
This is a very interesting bed. It's Rob and Liz, his morning crew on his radio, because it dispenses Skittles. So in the middle of the night, you need a snack. You just roll over and go, there's a couple of Skittles. Boom. There you go. It's like a Murphy bed, too, isn't it?
It is because
Yeah.
it goes in the wall. Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, there seems to be several issues with this. You could choke in the middle of the night. You could get, you know how
What?
Skittles, if you keep them in your hand, then you open your hand, it's all the colors. Like that could get on your bed.
Oh,
'Cause
that'll
you're
get all over your sheets.
right. Because do you slobber while you sleep? Some people do.
Oh, no. And
You
my hair is
never-
perfect when I wake up, too.
Okay. I would think you would get all those colors all over your bed.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's neat. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to get us to talk about it. And
Well,
we
here's
are.
the thing. It's not in the headboard. So it's a Murphy bed. And you actually have to slide the thing that has all the Skittles in it
Mm-hmm.
off to the side to open up where the bed is. And it's the Murphy bed, and it comes down.
Right.
And so you literally, if you want a Skittle, you have to roll over to the left and then reach your hand way out and then crank on something to put the Skittles in your hand.
Yeah,
Because it
kinda-
has like about 4 different dispensers.
But they're huge.
Yeah, they look like they're 3-4 feet.
They're almost as big as like a headboard would be off the ground. I mean, it's wild. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that would stretch to get as many Skittles.
That's true.
It's a problem when you're laying in bed.
And then time to
Chomp, chomp,
wash
chomp.
those sheets, and everything else white in that with the linen is going to turn all forms of Skittle colors.